about your aunt.
No, you should really be asking Sonia about this. She goes and visits her. I haven't seen her since I was a kid. I never knew much about her. I don't think she and Dad were ever very close. She lived in Detroit, and that's where my dad's family grew up. She taught grammar school for a while, and then she became a nun. No, she became a nun, and then she taught grammar school. And then she developed some sort of mental illness. I probably only saw her about a half dozen times. My one memory that I do remember was we were at this family picnic in this park, and Sonny and I were little. I could have been more than 10 or 11, and we were there was the grown-ups table, and then there was the kids table where we were, and it was Sonia, me, and a bunch of other kids, and Aunt Vavara, that's her name. Aunt Vavara was watching us, and she was sitting there in her black nun's habit, on this, and I remember it being this beautifully hot July day, and she's sitting there, and I remember being mortified, completely embarrassed that she was going to do something, say something weird that the other kids would use, and later on back at school. Well, after we finished our hot dogs and potato salad or whatever we had, in absolute silence, Aunt Vavara said, take your plastic fork and your plastic knife, and arrange them in a cross in the center of our plates, to remind ourselves of the great suffering that Jesus went through on the cross, and to absolve ourselves of our sins. Well, the other kids didn't really seem particularly bothered by this, and I wasn't too embarrassed. I just remember thinking how odd it was, a bunch of kids sitting there on this beautiful July day, arranging plastic silverware in the sign of a cross on the center of our paper plates. Anyway, she got sick. Dad brought her to a hospital in Connecticut. Not sure why. I don't think he ever went to visit her. I guess he just wanted her to have her close in case the mood struck him or something. Or maybe he felt guilty.
Are you a man of strong religious belief?
No. I think it's all a crock of shit.
So what happened when you went to meet your aunt?
That crazy old nun? That was Sonia's idea. It kind of freaked me out, actually. I wasn't raised to be religious. I don't really think I understand the people that are raised to be religious. Anyway, Sonia told me she had this aunt that had been institutionalized, and that she goes to see her every month or so. So she asked me to go with her, which I didn't really want to do, but I could tell it was important to her. So I agreed to do it. We took the train up to Connecticut and took a bus over to the hospital. Wow. What a place. You should have seen it. There's waterfalls, plastic flowers everywhere, beach chairs out on the lawn. Oh, I wouldn't mind living there, actually. I mean, I don't really know if my father ever really went to go visit his sister, but I do know that he took good care of her. Pretty swank. Anyway, so we got there and went to go see her aunt. And I guess she had her good and bad days, so Sonia went to go talk to her just to kind of see what kind of mood she was in. So I just kind of held back and waited in the reception area, and I could see there was these glass doors that separated where I was as to where Sonia and her aunt was, and they were sitting on a bench in this window. It was pretty sunny out, and the sun was on them. And it was quite remarkable. I mean, here's two women that are 30 years age difference, and there they are talking like they're the best of friends. I remember commenting to myself how nice it was. But anyway, they were chit-chatting, and then at one point, they both turned around and looked at me.
Threw the money into the temple
Yeah, they both
of
turned
light.
around and they looked at me, and I remember feeling very uncomfortable about that, but they smiled. And then Sonia got up and walked over to me. And she said that she didn't really tell her aunt who I was, just that I was a friend and that her aunt was interested in meeting me. So we walked over to her. And I can remember it was like we were walking in slow motion. It was only like 15 yards away from where I was, maybe 20 yards, but it felt like an eternity walking towards her aunt. And her whole time that we were walking towards her, I could feel her aunt's eyes just on top of me. It's kind of crushing the weight. And at that point, I suddenly felt that I was holding Sonia's hand. That too made me feel very uncomfortable.
Matthew 27.
But as we approached her,
When Judas, who had betrayed
she introduced
him,
me as her friend
saw that
and sat
Jesus
down
was
next to her aunt, and
condemned, he was
her aunt made the
seized
sign of
with
cross,
remorse
the sign of the
and
cross.
returned the silver coins
That
to
kind
the
of freaked
chief
me out.
priests and the
And
elders.
Sonia could see that I was uncomfortable
I have
about it, so she
sinned,
started to make some
said,
small
For
talk.
I have betrayed innocent.
And the whole time, her aunt had
What
this
is that
look on
to
her
us?
face, kind of this
They
plastic
replied.
smile, and at times
That's
just
your
not a peep, not a
responsibility.
sound. Just sat there looking
So
at her.
Judas, who
But I gave her
rolled the
aunt a
money
chocolate
into the
bar that I
temple
got
of
from
light.
the vending machine where I was waiting. And
went
Sonia
away.
thought that would be a nice gesture.
Hanged himself.
I think I cracked a smile from her aunt. But
Matthew 27.
anyway, as we started to run out of small talk, we started to leave. And on our way out, her aunt had stopped us. And she kissed me on the forehead. And what do you do to that? I just wanted to get the heck out of there. It just gave me this creepy feeling, this up my back. And so I bolted for the door, and I don't even remember what happened next. Before I knew it, we were in the car, and Sonia was giving me this feeble explanation for her aunt, and which, whatever, is fine with me. Just she didn't have to make up any excuses for the actions of a mad woman.
And hanged himself.
How's your relationship with your half-brother, Sam?
I like him. But I know it sounds crazy. I don't think he's my half brother.
Why not?
I don't know. I just don't think that he is. I mean, there's no real proof, is there? My father's lawyer told me there was a blood test, but I've never seen it. To me, it's all hearsay.
Then who is he?
I don't know. I had this crazy idea last night that Jennifer and Sam cooked the whole thing up with my dad's lawyer just to get the money from my father. I never trusted his lawyer. I know that Jen has been in touch with him since my father's death.
How do you know that?
Dimitri told me.
So you think Jennifer got together with your father's lawyer and came up with the idea of telling your dad that he had an illegitimate son. They introduced Sam to your father with the intention of cutting him in on any future inheritance. Jennifer, Sam, and the attorney would split it 3 ways.
It's probably all just a fantasy of mine, but people have done crazier things for money. And certainly, since Sam came on the scene, there's been a marked change in my father's relationship with Dimitri and me.
But there's also been a change in your father's relationship with Jennifer.
That could be Sam's doing. I mean, maybe he got greedy and realized he didn't need Jen to get into my father's good graces. A 50% share is better than a third. But of course, I have no proof. It's all just a silly idea of mine.
The day after your father's death, you picked Sam up from the hospital
Yeah.
in his room.
No, we met in the lobby.
Why the lobby?
I don't know. I suppose he'd already been discharged.